Welcome to the Your Opinion Doesn't Matter podcast, episode 91, the Zoom edition, finance and Zoom. My name is Lamont. I'm here with a special guest, um, Emile. How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing well, Monty. Thanks for inviting me back. I really appreciate it, brother. Good to see you again.
Yes, nice to see you, man. And you've been a fan favorite. Some people's like, "Whoa, I liked when your friend was on the show, Emile. You was on our previous show when we had a
Yeah.
interesting topic, and that was very very good. And we was talking about the culture like a West Indian culture, so forth and so
I
on.
remember that. Right. That was good. That was a great podcast. I really enjoyed that. That was a couple of months ago.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
And so yeah, how you been? How you been?
I've been well. I've been well, man. I just got back. I just got off a vacation. Well needed vacation with my wife and my family. We had a family
Mhm.
reunion, first one we've ever done. And one of my cousins has been trying to do it for the past 4 years. Got 27 members of my family together out of like, I don't know, 100, I don't know. Just came back from Turks and Caicos, Bahamas, last Friday from a week. And I just had such a great time. I'm really, really relaxed and stuff. And came back to New York to 39 degrees from
Oh,
90, which is a terrible shock.
yeah.
And but I'm good because I'm back here talking to you. So I'm in good shape.
Nice, nice, nice. Well, my hey, I want to say sorry to hear that you missed the sun and fun, and you're here with us today.
It's all right. It's okay.
This new year is starting off kind of shaky for me. It's like this never ending of up in your face, like so much people passing away,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming, and but it I was gonna do like usually like last year, two people have passed away, and I was like, I'm gonna go dark on the web. Like I'm not posting nothing. And
I got
then
you.
but then I said, you know what? This year I'm gonna just be happy and do what I'm regularly doing. I can't just let certain things overwhelm me, even though these things are important. It may not be directly affecting me, but it's affecting someone else. And I care about how other people feel as well. You know what I'm saying? Not to say my post is derogatory. I want people to be like, they'll look at it, be like, oh, if they know that I know that person, why would they, they look, I mean, I'll be thinking of certain things like, why would he post anything and just not chill, when he knows something is going on. But even though I'm not posting nothing, out the way. But but yeah, so other than that, I'm pushing on and living I gotta live my life and
I understand that. Yeah,
be happy and be happy.
yeah.
We we were speaking to you before, like I kind of bamboozled you the first time to come on the show. And the first off, I wanted you to talk about finance. And then this
Right. I
and then
recall
it
it.
just and then you just came on and then you found what the next topic interesting, which was about the culture. And you said, all right, I'll do that. And then I said, I owe you a finance episode. I owe you a finance
Ha.
episode. And I'm
Gotcha.
here and I'm happy to for the people to hear some interesting perspective on the financial market and the financial crisis or soon to be crisis that's in now. So just give the people a brief, just tell them about yourself and what's your specialties.
Sure. Thanks, man. I appreciate you bringing me back. Um, excuse me. So my name is Emile Vio. I am a financial services professional, right? So I've been working on Wall Street since I was 22, 23 years old. Um, Attended New York University, majored in international business, and I've worked for numerous financial services companies, some of the big ones, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, Thompson Financial, where else? Smith Barney. So I'm what you might call, the old school Wall Street Gen Xer, right, who survived numerous calamities within the financial markets for many, many years. So I'm that guy, right? Some have gone through it with me, and some have left the industry altogether, especially after 2001 with September 11th. And after '08, a lot of guys and a lot of ladies just left the game. I stayed in because I feel as though this may sound crazy and macabre, but I feel Wall Street owes me, right? I've been in it, I've serviced it, and I'm going to get what I can out of it. So that said, I've worked in several different what they call verticals, right? That means just areas of the market, from the capital markets, which is like selling products to investment bankers. I worked in the hedge fund space, doing product sales to hedge funds, private equity, venture capital, and now I found my space, and I'm currently now the assistant vice president of um, of wealth management, global wealth management, for a company called GoBullion International. So I manage a group of guys within the United States, Southeast, Mid Atlantic, and West Coast. So I work for a financial technology, or let's put it, an institutional financial technology firm that introduces opportunities to financial advisors to purchase precious metals for their wealthiest clients. Meaning, I reach out to financial advisors with my team, and we introduce the opportunity for them to buy gold for their wealthiest clients in their portfolios so they can benefit from the prices of gold and silver, platinum, palladium going up. So that's my job, is to actually introduce investments to the financial advisor who manages portfolios for their clients. That's
Nice,
what I do.
nice. So then, okay, so you said that side of it, right? So,
Mhm.
to introducing them to possibilities of gold and all that stuff like that. So now,
Right.
where do you get your information from the other side? Like, okay, there's a deal here or something like that. As far as to know the gold, because I know
Mhm.
you're basically like a broker, basically, kind of, sort of, right?
Yeah, that's a very good way of looking at it. So I'm the intermediary, right? I'm the guy in between,
Right,
right? So I manage the relationship between my firm and the investment firm. So, for example, Merrill Lynch Wealth Management is one of the biggest wealth management firms in the world, right? They
right.
have over 14,000 financial advisors, private wealth managers. These are people who manage money for very wealthy, accredited investors, right? Like you got to have like $250,000 to start just to open up an account with these guys. Some places it's 1 million, right? And depending on the size of the advisor's book of business, right? Book of business is how much his entire portfolio of clients are worth. Some guys will manage $500 million,
Mhm.
$1 billion, or a team that manages $2 billion. So that's my job, right? So to talk to that guy, right, and
Right.
force my way in, sophisticated in a very sophisticated manner by introducing the opportunity for his book of business to grow. If I introduce the right investment for him, right? And if it makes
Mhm.
sense to him to introduce that to his clients. Gold is extremely expensive. It's not
Mhm.
like a stock, right? Gold is not like a stock or a bond or anything like that. Gold is an actual piece of metal that you can barter for money,
Mhm.
right? When you watch those TV shows and those heist shows, oh, we're going to steal gold bars from that vault in, London or Zurich or some fancy geography, right?
Right.
And they take the trucks and, it's us this whole fancy heist thing, like that movie that came out many years ago, with Mark Wahlberg and stuff like that, right? The Italian Job,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah, that stuff. Like we're actually selling gold bars, right? Like this is
Mhm.
like insane stuff that the average person doesn't have access to,
Mhm.
right? So you have to
Right.
be really understand how that works. So yeah, in that sense, I'm given entree because we have the relationship already.
Mhm.
So my job is to connect to all the advisors inside the firm to make sure they understand who I am and what I could do for them, or what me and my team could do for them.
Nice for some clarity. A tad bit, but you did explain a lot, but I mean like this right here is another level. Another
It
level,
really
man.
is. I've never done this before in my life.
Uh,
And honestly, I'm not a precious metals or a gold expert. I'm not a platinum or palladium or silver or gold expert.
Right.
So in the world of Wall Street, bro, people are under this impression, right? Because they do it on purpose, that you have to have some kind of relative knowledge base to know this stuff. Like 80% of Wall Street, like they teach you what they want you to know. They just
Mm-hmm.
have to like you enough to hire you to have you do it,
Mm-hmm. Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the actual environment. So don't get it twisted. You don't have to know this stuff like coming out of college or anything like that. You just don't.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's so, yeah, that's a good that's good to good way of summing it up because I know somebody who didn't have the proper credentials and in around the Wall Street area and they hired him
Mm-hmm.
because they liked him. They liked him
Because they like, yeah,
and then they taught him. And then they taught him
yeah.
how to do this, even though he had skills in another area, but it definitely wasn't
Mm-hmm.
this. I'm not. It's not
Yeah.
about the stock or anything like that. It's not about that selling or trading. It was just. It's more or less like IT stuff. But yeah,
Okay.
so
I understand.
it's interesting. It's very very interesting. And I have some questions for you. Why is investing in the stock market considered by so many people to be a scam?
Well, there's an old saying, right? What you don't know, you don't know what you don't know,
Mm-hmm.
right? So for a very long time, um, people people would normally talk themselves. People normally just by the nature of who they are, right? Average human beings, when they don't know something, they tend to talk themselves out of it, right? And if you don't know how something works and the kind of returns that you can make off an investment sounds like the too good to be true, then people say, well, then it can't be true,
Mm-hmm.
right? When in fact, Wall Street and investing in Wall Street is the open secret of exclusivity that is a farce, right? So you tell somebody, for example, um, I'm gonna buy a pair of Nikes for $200, right? You're just buying a pair of sneakers that the market tells you is worth $200 because between marketing, the hype, word on the street, somebody's wearing it, looks cool, it's fly, looks good, your outfit, it's already sold to you. You buy that $200 sneaker. There's nothing scammy about it. Why? Because you can tie it, put it on your foot, walk out with it under your ankle. Done. A stock. Where do I buy it? How come I can't touch it? Where do I see it? Who's giving it to me? What's happening? Where's it coming from? Who builds this thing? Where am I going to find it? How do I sell it? Where do I get my money from?
Mm-hmm.
And when you begin to tell people how that works, and if it doesn't resonate because they can't see it, they can't touch it, it's a scam. The stock costs $10. You put $100 into it, that's 10 shares. The stock goes to $100. That's 90 points. You made like almost $2,000 in the span of a week, probably, depending on stock moves. Yes. And the stock can also go down. Why? Supply and demand, right? But if you can make $2,000 off of $10, off of $100, let's say within a week, which has happened 1,000 times over, and you call your broker and say, "Hey, John, can you liquidate that stock of Nike for me? How much do I get? Oh, you get $1,000. All right, thanks. Oh, 2,000 or 3,000. All right, thanks. Can you send that to my account, please? Sure. When would I get there? 24 hours. I've done it. My buddies have done it. I've known hundreds of people in my lifetime who've done it. And if
Mm-hmm.
you have a friend that you trust and he can show you how it's done, then it's no longer a scam because somebody has to do it first before it's not noted as scam anymore. That's the issue with society in a whole. Everything is a too good. Everything is I have to see it to believe it, or I have to touch it to believe it. It's just like real estate,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's not a scam because you can touch it. But some of the biggest scams in our society are real estate scams. And you can see the house you just purchased. Go touch it, walk through the gate, take the key, walk through that door, but for all you know, that house is not even yours because somebody scammed you into it.
Right. Right.
Is all I'm saying. I'm just giving you two sets
Yeah.
of diametrically opposing theories, but one could be actually 100% true, and the other one is a physical theory, but it could be a scam as well.
Right. 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 So the lack of knowledge would bring people to the ignorance of saying, "Oh, this is a scam."
Absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
100%,
Right. Right.
100%.
So what would you recommend to people to actually to um to learn about this? What steps should they take? Because I know it's a process. As you say, you
Yeah,
uh-huh.
yeah. It's you know, investing is what might call it's a long term play.
Right.
It's like trying to date a woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
You see yourself marrying her in 5 years.
Right.
And from now to 2030, right? You're saying to yourself, what are the steps do I have to take in order to marry that woman? And you, as a man, know what you got to do to marry that woman, right?
Right.
That's the same way with investing. You have to study it, you have to research, you have to understand it, right? You have to engage it, right? Do
Mm-hmm.
get there's a knowledge base to
Right.
understanding what you're willing to invest in, right? And it's the same thing as relationship, right? Vice versa, right? So you first have to do your research.
Mm-hmm.
And if you happen to know somebody who's within that space, then call out, reach, hey, I'm interested in learning more about X, right? Or if you don't have anyone in your immediate centers of influence, COIs, right? Or somebody that you know that knows somebody, because it can happen. You take your ass to YouTube and you punch in how to invest in stocks. And you're going to have at best 2 or 3 thousand people with all kind of channels, with all kinds of financial services backgrounds telling you about this,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's literally a retarded monkey can do this.
Can do this, right. Right. So it's got to go to
I
YouTube
kid you not.
University. Right. 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 Right.
Literally, literally. And it takes all of $500, maybe less, but $500 is a very, very, very decent start to learning how to invest in stocks. I don't mean one stock. I'm talking about a gang of them at one shot for $500.
Mm-hmm.
ETFs, exchange traded funds, index funds. You can learn what those things are. It's just fancy language. But
Right.
once the fancy language is taken away and you learn what that is, you're like,
Right.
oh, that's what that is. Yeah, they do it on purpose to keep certain people out.
Mm-hmm. No.
It's
Okay.
a ploy. It's a ploy, and it's kind of sad.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of sad, but it's fancy language used on purpose to keep certain people out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And people, and then they hear all of these words and be like, oh no, because it's not everyday language.
Yeah, it's
Right.
not everyday language, right? The vernacular and the verbiage is so foreign,
Mm-hmm.
right? That they make themselves not want to care, right? The stock market is the place where most people will always can retire from and have more money in their pockets if you start early enough than you will in your average pension.
Mm-hmm. Nice, nice,
The
nice,
average
nice.
pension, the average pension in the United States is like 200 to $300,000. The average pension.
Mm-hmm.
Most people who invest in the stock market for 20 years will come out with $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's a broad term to use. Come out with $1 million. I'm talking about somebody who's devoutly involved for 20 years,
Right.
and you've had a job for 20 years. You
Yeah.
can probably outpace your own pension with the right investments in the stock market.
Right. Right. Especially if you was there when you was there in the beginning of Facebook or the beginning of
That's
something.
There
Yeah.
you go. There
Yeah.
you go. You
Yeah.
just said it right there.
And you'd have been way up.
You
You'd
would
have
have
been
been
like
way up.
you'd have been like pension. What? I'm retiring early, 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 early. Nice, nice.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Nice, 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 nice. Thanks for that. Thanks for your information. Now, let me go to
Hmm.
question two. What are some of the easiest investments for people to get into that are not investment savvy?
Oh, um, one, stocks, right? So I'll explain what a stock is, right? In the most simplest, most layman term, a stock is an investment in a company. Period. End of story. You can go to your refrigerator, and there are stocks all up in your refrigerator. Heinz ketchup, Tropicana, Boar's Head, Pepsi, Sprite, uh, it's endless, right? Frito-Lay, go in your cupboard, Campbell's soup, right? You're just, every time you put $1 towards something in your fridge or your cupboard, you're investing in that's basically like investing in a stock, right? It's just an investment in a share of a stock. You go to, like I said before about Nike, I don't know how much Nike stock costs. It might be like $150. If you purchase Nike for one share, you own you own a share of Nike. And if Nike moves 2 points, you have 2 points of revenue going into your portfolio, right? It goes from 150 to 152, and that's $2, and it gets higher and higher and higher, right? So that's all a stock is. You could have mutual funds, extremely easy to invest in. All mutual funds is a pool of stocks in a basket. So one stock is by itself, right? A pool of stocks is a mutual fund. It can have Microsoft, it can have Time Warner, it can have Frito-Lay Pepsi, it can have Ford Motor Company, right? And you invest in those mutual funds, and that's a basket of stocks, right? And then you have something called REITs, which are super dumb easy. Real Estate Investment Trust, REITs, REITs. REITs is investing in real estate funds. So if you have $10,000 to like sitting on the side somewhere, like let's say a rainy day fund or some money you have on the side, you could take $10,000. You can go to Google and put in REITs, and it'll give you days worth of investments in REITs. REITs can be investments in developments in a particular state, right? Or an already existing development that's doing extremely well. Let's say a high rise in Manhattan with 150 floors, and it's in middle of Park Avenue, and 90% of the building's already occupied, right? And all these are condos worth, let's say, $2 million and up. That is a REIT. And in the REIT, every single month, you will receive dividends from the revenue stream that development makes into perpetuity. So it could be 10,000, 20,000, 50, 100. But imagine just investing $10,000 and getting back, for example, I don't know, $300 a month in your bank account for the next 10 years. Or it gets reinvested, and you can reinvest that into another REIT somewhere or something like that. Right? Yeah. Those are the number one easiest investments. Easy.
And those are REITs. How you spell
REITs,
it?
Real Estate Investment Trust, REITs. Right? Okay. Now, some people like the actual physical, I want to invest in something I can see, like real estate, right? I want to buy a 3-family or whatever. Yeah, you can invest in 3-family developments down south that's already underway. Or you can invest in a multi-development complex in Atlanta or North Carolina, LA. They're everywhere. And they give you prospectuses, how it's going to do, how many investors are in it. You can see how long it's been around. And if you want, you can go visit the damn thing, right? But it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. These things are physical properties that exist that you invest in, without having to actually manage it yourself.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
REITs are incredibly profitable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Nice. I never heard of that. Never heard of REITs.
Yeah.
And you broke down the mutual funds, right? That's what you said. The mutual. That's what you
Yeah.
said.
Mutual funds, exchange traded funds, REITs. These
Mm-hmm.
are all baskets of investments you can invest in without having thousands and thousands of dollars.
So now for the REITs, what's the minimum you should start with a REITs investment?
Most REITs minimum that you always usually see is like 5,000. Then it goes
Mm-hmm.
to 10, it could be 20. Some of them tell you, well, this particular development over here is a luxury high rise in Manhattan on Madison Avenue, and it's completely underway, and the occupancy so far is 70%. That's telling you that's how many people are already
That's there.
vested to already live in it,
Right.
which means they're going to be paying that mortgage, which means you're going to be getting your money back in those REITs,
Right.
right? So I'm speaking in layman's terms
Right.
and I'm being vague as possible, but that's the concept of
So
it.
what's the percent with like what would be the percent? Like, okay, say a person puts down 5, 10,000, and that the say your firm purchased that REIT for you. What would that person whose money it is, what percent, what would it be? Would it be a percent or just what would that be called?
So yeah, it's called so you're investing in you're investing in the actual real estate fund. So you're funding it,
You're funding
right?
it. Right.
And yeah, so it's like a bond. So you're almost like you're saying, okay, thanks for this money. In so in conjunction with you giving us money for this fund, we're going to give you a payment once a month for X amount of time, right? So look to it as like a get back, not a kickback, but like a dividend to say thank you. This is every single month, right? And I don't know if that's how it because it's stipulated in the contract, the REIT contract, right? When your dividends would start coming back to you, it could be 2 months, 3 months after the initial investment, or whatever the case may be, right? And you'll know where the building's located. You'll know who the developer is. You know who the manager is. You'll know how many people are going to be living in it. It's so transparent; it can't get any more transparent,
Right.
right? REITs are extremely profitable.
Mm-hmm. Nice. I'm listening. I'm listening.
Yeah,
I am definitely listening, man.
please do, please do.
And I
And
appreciate
this
it.
is something.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that a lot of African Americans just do not care about, right? And it's not because they don't care, it's because they don't have the information being told to them, right? Because this is not like REITs are not even a popular term that's being thrown around. Mutual funds, people know. They hear stock, they hear bonds. Those are the most common investment verbiage, common investment jargon you will hear. Mutual funds, stock, bonds,
Right.
right? You don't hear REITs, right? You don't hear ETFs, right? You don't hear that type of terminology. So you think it's some fancy pants expensive thing, but it's not.
Right. I'm this it's very interesting, and I'm definitely want to learn more about it. And yes, let me go to another question. Let me go to
Sure.
another question. Why do you think so many Black people don't invest and prefer to only maybe do real estate?
Well, not to be presumptuous, um, and it's not just us, but because we're
Right.
talking about our people, we are risk averse people,
Mm-hmm.
right? We are risk averse. We don't like taking chances
Yeah.
on something that we just don't see and don't know, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is not rocket science, right? And it's the natural cautionary tale type of world that we live in, right?
Yeah.
And now with the world that we are in, with the internet and the consistent scamming of the average person on a daily basis, actually by hour, we trust nothing that we clearly make no time to understand. And yeah, investing takes serious devotion, right? There are people who are called long-term investors who don't give a damn what happens in the market as long as they know that based off just forces, it's always going to go back up. There is something to that. But if we don't understand how something works, then we will never trust it, right? And it's one of those, and I hate saying it, right? But there are a lot of ignorant people out there or unknowledgeable people who will always say, "Oh, that's the white man's game."
I was thinking the
Well,
same thing. I was thinking the same thing.
right? Yeah, and because he invented that game. Wall Street is clearly the Anglo-Saxon white man's creation, right? From days of old, right? From the barter system all the way up till today, right? He has created and manufactured and just out of thin air, just created nonsensical investments that people just don't understand how it's working. And how do I give you $1 and next week I got 10,000, right? And it's in my bank account. How did this happen, right? And if we don't know how it happened, some people are like, I don't give a damn. It's bread, but you should understand because then you can replicate it and do it somewhere else, right? And the issue is we're not provided the intricate level of information to connect the dots to see why this is good for us, right? Like the middle class was the black middle class was built on the backs of the post office, corporate America jobs, federal, state, and city employment, right? Most of our parents didn't have credit cards in the 70s, but they were buying houses, right? Because they were saving their money, they gave it to the bank, and they got their house, and they survived only on their pension, right?
Right.
And now it's a whole other kind of model, but they don't understand that their pensions are managed by Wall Street people, hedge funds and investment firms, right? And now those big companies are coming into the federal, city, and state world. And now your pension, your parents' pensions, and what is being thrown into Wall Street, and now their money is going to be bigger, and hopefully, and larger than your grandparents.
Because they're leveraging it.
Because they're leveraging it in other places.
Yeah.
So those same places is where the Black Americans and African Americans and Korean should be investing in. Those kind of places, the REITs and the mutual funds and the ETFs and whatever. But that's, again, it's risk.
Yeah.
Right? You know how that works. You gotta put the money out to get the money back.
Right.
Right? Scared money don't make no money.
Right. That's and people would rather take a $10 loss and play lotto than a $100 loss. It's like people I say like it's like black people look at that as a white man's game, and and don't want to take a chance, and they don't believe a lot of people are they content, and they don't think about financial freedom. They don't really. That's not financial freedom to them is be able to, all right, I bust my butt all week, come home, I take a drink, and I'm cooling out. I always say like this. In school, you are taught a certain way, right? You are taught a certain way to become workers. And say 5%, like say if a parent would tell a child, like, look, okay, listen, this is what I want you to do. I want you to think of a business. This is from in middle school. I want you to think of a business and we're going to start putting it together to create a business, right? And then now in
Mm.
high school, you're going to put it together and put it together more and more. And in college, now you're going to have your business, right? But then because 90 to 95% of the kids that's in school are trained to become workers, and that other 5% could could have those same kids working for them. They don't. This like it's a mindset. It's a mindset.
Absolutely.
It's a mindset. I have my brother. My brother, he's a journalist for the Wall. He's an editor for the Wall Street Journal,
Oh, wow. Awesome.
and he went to Johns Hopkins University, right? And just the other day, like 2 months ago, we're a three-way chat, me and my other brother, my other older brother, right? So my other brother, he likes to get into like little debates about back in the days, but it's like becomes an argument. I said, why when we come together on a conversation, we don't talk about empowering each other, making money, making moves. We don't have these conversations, but we'll take time to talk about foolishness, you know? And then my brother, and I said to him separately, the one who wasn't arguing with me, the one who was who went to John Hopkins, I said, why don't you never think about doing business? He says, no, 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 that's not me. That's not me. That's not me. And that's the thing. A lot of people, that's their thing. That's not me. You don't try it, so they say it's not for them. And
No, and I get that. Yeah, and and that comes from reluctance, right? Complacency. A lot of it is exposure, right? And again, and I'm biased only because I've worked in a place that is a money-driven economy. Wall Street is a money-driven, revenue-generating economy. It's a place that basically runs the free market, right? Wall Street is the place that runs the free market and dictates to the world what's happening to you all, right? So I have that the insider's perspective on why these things are happening, right? So I've always been in that place where I worked as the sales guy who gets the information and push it out. And so I'll always have the information before you sort of kind of understand why this is happening,
mhm,
right? So before the financial crisis happened in 2008, in 2007, we heard about it, but it was developing and it was getting uglier and nastier. But this product that I was selling to hedge funds, I was like, they don't know that this information is being gathered. And these hedge funds are selling stuff to people and to each other and whatever, these bonds. And I'm saying to myself, this is going to be bad. Now, I'm just saying all this to say, when you get information, it's about the information. Where do I get information from? Where do you get information from? And it's always been about access to info. It's that corporate slang, right? Access to information means everything. And I've always been privy, not special, but I've always been privy in certain spaces, the hedge fund space, the private equity space, and the wealth management space are the three top places where info is manufactured and kept and
mhm,
hoarded for rich people.
mhm,
Hoarded for rich people all the time. And
mhm,
that's when I realized I know where I am. I realized that maybe I'm 55. I realized that 15 years ago, mind you.
mhm,
So it's lack of information and caring to take it and benefit yourself
mhm,
from it.
mhm,
Because we, unfortunately, and look, I was, I'm from out here. Me and you from the same hood, right? We grew up in the same hood, you and I, you know that. And when we were kids, we weren't connected to any of this stuff or people who was connected to this stuff, right? I got to this stuff by happenstance, clearly by happenstance. It's I wasn't gunning for it, right? It's not until I started school There's always something about school that connected me to other kids who were doing that thing that I saw in the movie, like the movie Wall Street,
Yeah.
right?
The boiler room and
And
stuff like
I'm
that,
like,
right? Hmm.
well, Boiler Room came like 20 years after Wall Street.
Right.
So Wall Street with Charlie Sheen was the catalyst movie, the one that set it off. And I got into that world because I thought it was like that movie. And when I got in, it really was. And
Mm.
I was like, what the? I'm really in that movie.
Hmm.
And I was near that room on Wall Street. I was just downstairs from it. And I would go up and down to talk to those guys. And I was hooked, my guy, like a heroin addict.
Hmm.
This is in 1993.
Mm.
And that's when I got my first understanding of access to like that information. Like nobody in Flatbush in my hood was working in a place like that.
Hmm. Hmm. That's great. That's great. I mean, you have the inside look, and you have the knowledge, and you gained a whole lot of knowledge. And as you're saying that, it's certain information is being held by the higher ups. The rich stay rich and the poor stay poor. But if people start to say, "Listen, let me stop playing lotto. This lotto that you're spending there, like 200 a month on lotto just to win back $50, use that 150 and invest. Use the $150 and invest.
Not even $150 in a mutual fund.
Hmm.
It's really that easy, you know. But again, there are people who would prefer to play crypto, right? Which is literally straight up and down, probably the biggest gamble I've ever seen,
Hmm.
as it relates to an investment instrument,
Hmm.
right? Even from a perspective of a guy who's been in this game that long, I'm saying to myself, wow, this one needs to be looked at. Now, mind you, I know some cats who jumped in early,
Hmm.
like those real tech savvy guys from like 2015, 2016, 17, who was telling me about it. And I was skeptic then because I couldn't grasp it. Even as a financial services guy, I couldn't grasp it. And I knew some about an Asian guy who lived in Cali, who's a friend who was calling me about it, asked me if I heard about it. I said, no, what's that? And he told me I'm investing about 5 grand in it. It's only like 4 cents. I said, it sounds like a penny stock. No, it's not that stock, it's crypto. What's that? We're going back and forth for weeks and weeks and weeks. We lost contact for a little while. And it was Bitcoin. This guy must be a millionaire by now because there's a time in Bitcoin's history you can cash out of your ledger without paying taxes. So
Hmm.
I know this guy must have
Yes.
cashed out of hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe a million and change.
5,000 on 4 cents. Woo!
That's my
Gee,
point.
damn.
Which is a legit. Which this is because the government has legitimized Bitcoin now.
Hmm.
So is Bitcoin a scam? Probably not.
What was Bitcoin? Who came up with that? What was the intentions of a Bitcoin?
Bitcoin came now. Interestingly enough, Bitcoin was created by an Asian gentleman. I forgot the name. I think Natoshi something. This is back in 2002 or three, if I'm not mistaken, early twos, and wanted to decentralize or having a decentralized way of transporting money without it being connected to a dollar, like the Federal Reserve's monetary policy and fiscal policy of the United States. But he wanted something to be disconnected from them. And you have to be a developer, right? Like software engineer type to create something like this, and created a coin. And the ledger is just a way of coagulating all the information together, and computers speaking to each other, but you don't have access, and it's something you cannot decipher, right? Because it's encrypted to a level where you have to have access to the ledger in order for you to even understand what's happening. So I say all this to say that now you can utilize crypto as a full currency, like a dollar would, right? But it's not a physical paper, right? It's digital, like everybody knows, but it can be manufactured into physical cash. Right. And like they're using it heavily in California. You can buy houses on cryptocurrency in California and in certain countries, right? But crypto is not a scam. Now, because it cannot be managed or regulated by the government, right? It's its own process through human interaction. There's no banking system involved in this, so it cannot be managed, which is the genius of it.
Right. So that keeps your ass out their pocket.
Right. So Bitcoin is legit, but now it's so legit they're trying to manage it. So now if you try to cash your crypto into your account, you're going to pay taxes.
Oh, see, they're finding a way to get in there.
They're finding a way. But in 2015 and 16, and if you cashed out tax-free.
Wow.
There are millionaires who are like 21 years old, 25 years old on this.
That's nice. So yeah, so it's interesting. You broke down Bitcoin. So tell me a little bit about crypto. What is the science behind crypto? And is Bitcoin and crypto, are they kind of the same?
Well, crypto is a euphemism for digital currency. So Bitcoin is just crypto. Bitcoin, you have Solano, you have Saldano, you have Ripple, you have tons of them. Now, a lot of them have been deemed as scams, so a lot of them are gone. But there are some, like 3 or 4 of them, that are super legit.
Okay.
Right? And that people can invest in. But these are just they're not nondescript, but they're incapable of being regulated by government bodies and stuff like that, right? Which this is the attraction to it, the decentralizing the financial markets. So the dollar the dollar looks as if it's at risk when it's not. This is just another digital currency being used other than the US dollar, but it's outpacing inflation, right? Like crazy. And now Bitcoin must be like $90,000 a coin.
I heard
no one could avoid. No one.
No, you said no one could afford. It's $90.
No one could afford Bitcoin. No one could avoid Bitcoin. No one could afford it.
At the price it's now, the Bitcoin is that much?
Yes, $90,000 a coin. Who could afford that?
Oh, 90,000.
Yes.
Oh shoot, that is
last I saw it was $90,000 a coin.
Sheesh, man.
Yeah.
Man. That's a serious thing. Is it true that Trump said that he was coming out with his own type of coin or something like that?
Yeah. So Donald Trump is trying to take advantage of the excitement behind digital currency, and Trump is, for all intents and purposes, he's grifting. So he's trying to create a digital coin, though he's a US president, which should be illegal. So he can benefit off the ensuing excitement of digital currency, right? Because his real estate empire is defaulting. It's falling apart, has fallen apart. So he has to have a new revenue generating scheme. And I'm not a huge fan of what he's doing, never have been. And he's trying to create a coin so he can enrich himself. But again, it's going to work because his voters will invest in it for the simple fact that he's creating it. So I wouldn't call it a legit currency. It's because it just will not be.
Right. And his popularity, people's gonna shoot. They
His
buy it.
popularity is
It's
fueling it,
crazy.
right?
Yeah, his
Yeah,
make America Great. That red and white, that red hat. People's buying it off the shelf. People's buying it off the
yeah,
shelf.
yeah.
And
That's not even worth having a conversation about because it's not really a legitimate play.
thing.
And any recommendations, right?
Right.
I really suggest that two things. And this is this is my own opinion, right? People should really think about what investing is, right? It's just a tool. Investing in the stock market is just a tool to have something else to fall back on, right? So I'll give you a perfect example. You go to the bank and you say, I want to buy a house. My wife and I have 50 grand and we want to put towards this $300,000 house. Great. Do you have anything else? Yeah, I have, I got a 401k. Oh, that's great, but you probably won't want to have to use that. But how much is in your 401k? Oh, I've been at my job for 26 years. I got about $900,000. That's great. Is there anything else? Yeah, my wife has a pension. That's great. But is there anything else? Yeah, I have a stock portfolio worth 600,000. I got some REITs. I put $20,000 in a development. I'm getting $200 a month in dividends. I got 50 grand worth of bonds. I get interest rates every single month. And I got some mutual funds over here. That's called liquid assets. Listen closely. Those liquid assets can assist you in leveraging for that house. So I want people to know that all of that, right? And you can say, oh, and I got a life insurance policy with whole life cash value. That's a lot to have than just $50,000, right? And you want to say, I want to use that money that I just told you about, because that's the safety net that they're looking for. To say, okay, these people, other than just the $50,000 that they have all those other things. Like, it's not rocket science. I have all those other things. And we want to leverage all that other stuff, right? To buy this house. So you don't even have to give them the 50 grand. They said, we have the 50,000 in our savings, but we don't want to give that to you. This is what we got. So what can we get for that house? Right? How we can get this house? Now, if you only have $50,000, no stocks, no bonds, no investment, nothing, then you have a harder time. Then you're going to have a harder time. You understand? So you want to have those liquid assets, right? That will say, they could liquidate all of those things they just told me right now and have damn near $2 million. And they are a safe bet for that $300,000 house. So you can have the 50 grand. And I'm speaking like in layman's terms, but this is how banks view you. But those investments that you invest in are your safety net, right? And that's really your retirement. But you're also using that, the physical presence of all of that liquid cash, to say, yeah, I want that $300,000 house. I have $2 million worth of all this liquid cash, but all we have in our savings is 50 grand. They don't care about the 50 grand. They care about that other stuff because it says that you're safe, a safe bet.
Really,
and that's what your average person, that's what they don't understand. It ain't gotta even be $1 million worth. It could be 150 grand worth of liquid investment, 100 grand worth. At least that they know you got some other stuff sitting there. But don't make that $50 be it, because then you'll be a liability
Mm.
versus you know anything
Mhm.
else.
Right. Right. Wow. This is very very interesting. I hope the people out there get this information, and we could probably have a series where we could just actually stick to one and then nail it down to give people a better understanding. Um, this is a great information. I
You're
mean, if
welcome,
I'm
man.
if I'm loving it, so people gotta love it. Well, I don't know what
I
people
hope
don't
so.
know. I don't know what people don't know.
Yeah,
But what I do know, I learned something today. I learned something today. That's very,
I
very,
appreciate it. Yeah,
and I thank
my
you.
pleasure.
I
Yeah, my
thank
pleasure,
you.
man.
I thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So yeah. So this is episode 91. This is the first time in a couple years that we done a actual Zoom
Hmm.
meeting and Zoom podcast, and this is a great show. It's a great show, and hopefully we get to do another one very soon. I want to
Awesome.
we could do you have a Friday special, Emile, the finance guru. And you have any parting words? I mean, yeah, let me start off with my parting words. My parting words is that they say if you knew better, you do better, right? They say that, but is it actually true? People need to apply what they do know instead of holding on to it like, okay, and stop being so skeptical and be like, okay. And one thing about life is that people believe in things that don't cost them anything. Like they would have faith.
Right.
They'll have faith. They so heavy
Mm-hmm.
with faith, but they don't trust. They don't
Mm-hmm.
trust in themselves. They're like, okay, let me put this money here. Let me
Yeah.
put this. The risk of losing it is much more than just the thought of financial freedom. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's my closing statement. Everybody, hey, open your mind, open up your eyes, and open up your wallet or your purse.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, You're 100% correct. Yeah, man. I just want to say thanks a lot for bringing me on. I really appreciate it. I'm pretty passionate about like knowledge and going to go get things, like go and learn things,
Mm-hmm.
right? I've always been like that. I've always been a voracious reader for a really long time. Um, some people will say, "Oh, I read a book a week." That's nonsense, right? That's like that kind of stuff I find to be like very disingenuous, in ways that it makes someone seem like they're trying to be better than everyone. It's almost like a forced
Yeah.
thing. And I don't mean to be mean about it, but I've read 60 books and maybe in my since the age of 21, 22, right? That's a lot of books, but it's not. It's almost like two a year,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I like to learn things other than what everybody is trying to read because of where I work, the environment I work in, I'm
Mm-hmm.
almost forced to learn and find out because I work around seriously worldly people like who've done things. And I've done some things. I've traveled to some great places. I've known some amazing people in my lifetime. I've connected to some amazing professionals in my lifetime. I never thought that I would meet. Right? I've met some people that people from the hood just don't meet. Right? I've met people stacked elbow to elbow, chatted 2, 3, 4 hours. Robert Smith.
No, never know.
Robert Smith, the black billionaire.
Okay, the one that's higher than Jay-Z, the richest
Oh
black,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
black guy.
Well, he's the finance guy, right?
Uh-huh.
Private equity firm, Robert Smith. His net worth is like $9 billion,
Right,
right? Jay don't come close to nothing like that, right?
right.
Um, met Robert Smith many years ago at a banquet dinner. Fantastic conversation with the guy. Got his phone number, whole 9 yards. I was running a mentoring program at Goldman Sachs many years ago, and it was a black bankers dinner, more or less, and it was like 400 or 500 black professionals there honoring him. And we had some kids there for my program, and one of them had introduced them, and it was a fantastic evening. So he was looking to fund the program. So like all these things have been happening to me in my lifetime, right? So I say all this to say, go out there and learn on purpose,
Right.
right? And stop being distracted, by pop the balloon and find love and dudes fighting on air and chicks scamming their men and dudes, fighting in train stations. Like we're getting distracted by nonsensical, like subpar, like way out the way nonsense to the point where it's like commonplace, right? But you over here buying Nikes for 200, but you want to invest in the stock for 50. Go out there and learn on purpose. That's my thing.
Learn. Right. Hey, listen.
And I'll leave it at that.
Learn on purpose, folks. Learn on purpose, man. And and I appreciate you. I appreciate you, Emile, for coming on and spreading your wisdom. Your years of wisdom.
Better yet, my brother, I mean, just cut you off. Go on, learn for purpose. That's what I really meant to say. Go on there, learn for purpose.
Learn for purpose. Yes, learn for purpose, folks. You heard him live and direct. This is the Your Opinion Doesn't Matter podcast, man, and episode 91, a very, very good show, and we are outie. We're very good.